T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Let's get ready to sucker!
Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of sun. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of signs, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar signs. Try and take it from me. Big time. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try and take it from me, from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. We got Mac, we got EB, we got Quinn. I'd like to say the gang's all here. Where's Muncie? Aha! Aha! There he is. Hi, Munson.
Hello, gentlemen.
Coming at you live from the workout room, the workout facilities.
That's it.
Munson Workout Center.
Yeah,
is that
right.
the South Range one, or is that like your personal gym?
In the evening, it turns into my personal gym. But no, this is. Got some guys working out over there, getting ready.
Do I hear the legend out there? Is Coach Yeagley there?
No, he's in his office.
Okay, I thought I heard.
Yeah, football's getting ready, so.
All right, gentlemen, you ready for today's national day that is? It's one of our favorites here on this show. It's National Beer Lovers Day. Your other options were National Neither Snow Nor Rain Day, National Grandma Moses Day, National Acorn Squash Day, National Salami Day, National Grateful Patient Day, National New Hampshire Day, and National Another Look Unlimited Day. We're going to just stick with National Beer Lovers Day. William, do you have a beer that you absolutely love and can't live without?
Yes.
Sam Adams.
Oktoberfest. Best time of the year for beer is really in the fall. Everybody has their own version of Oktoberfest. Christmas comes out really, really early stuff, right at the end of October. So fall is like the best time. If you're a beer lover, this is like the perfect day to have it because the season's starting to change. There's all kinds of really good beer out there. Everybody has, like I said, everybody has their own brand. Eric talked about mixing and matching beers half and half, and there's just so many kinds. This just happens to be my favorite one. Sam Adams, Oktoberfest.
EB, what was the thing you showed me at Birdfish? What's it called? The half and half?
Oh, the Rattler, where they take like half beer and half lemonade.
Bomb.
Which with certain beers, definitely, especially because you were drinking what, like a single hop or a single barrel IPA, which was, it already was made with lemonade. So when you mixed it with that lemonade, it kind of just like gave it that extra oomph or whatever you want to call it. Their Rattlers are pretty good, especially with most of those beers that they have.
Quinn, what's your favorite beer when you have one?
I don't have one, but I'd probably say Bud Light would probably be the one because that's everywhere I go.
I did see him drink a seltzer one time.
One time.
One time. And it was like 2 sips.
Drink the whole thing.
Well, it was like 2 sips.
Taste
Well done, Quinn. I mean, Betos drinks enough for both of you, so
yeah, he does.
Just latch on to him, especially on Saturday night. We'll get to that in just a minute. Mr. Munson, what's your favorite go-to beer?
I do like the Summer Shandy. That's a good one. But for the longest time, it was all, and I'm just drawing a blank right now, but I like the Summer Shandy. When I think of the other one, Honey Brown. I used to drink Honey Brown like all the time. It's not that like, it's not real hoppy, but it's not like real like smooth like a light beer. It was just kind of like that in between. But the Honey Brown, there may have been a time or two that we were consuming it at establishments that we probably shouldn't have been at. So 30 years ago, during Prohibition. So, but yeah, so no, it was good.
Math doesn't add up, Paul. Math doesn't add up.
Yeah, I know.
EV, how about you?
It means I would have been 13 or 14 years old when it was going on. So, no, it wasn't that early.
I don't, dude. I'm kind of with Mac. Like, I feel like fall is the best time for beer because now you're getting the Oktoberfest, and you're going to see a lot of people release some of their porters, and just fall beers have a lot more flavor. I mean, during the summer, I was on a lager kick, but that's because Birdfish had a lager out that I thought was phenomenal. A go-to would probably just be Bud Light because it's everywhere, but I enjoy a good, Oktoberfest or a nice little IPA here and there, depending on what it is. But I'll give anything a shot once.
I had the toasted. Wait. Matt says I had the toasted marshmallow seltzer over the weekend. Not awful. Okay. I was wondering about that. I don't know how you can make something good taste like marshmallow and it be alcoholic without.
Coach Seidel is now named just Matthew. That's it.
I listen. I am falling into the category of some of these foo-foo drinks. I'm not going to lie to you. And one of my favorite establishments now, thanks to EB, is Sundog Winery and Cider House. I mean, that place is unbelievable. My wife would marry that place if it were a person, I'm pretty sure. Because
I think Matthew has a wide spectrum of beer. Like, the guy will sit here and drink Natty Light to Busch Light,
he goes
and
across.
then across the board to like toasted marshmallow seltzer. Like,
he's the Roy G. Biv of alcohol.
Dude, I wouldn't consider some of those ciders like a foo-foo drink though, because dude, they're 7-8%. You have 2 or 3 of those, they'll knock you on your ass, and you don't even realize you're drinking.
No, but what I'm saying is, if we go to a biker bar and there's cider on tap, and I want to make it out of there, I can't order cider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm just enjoying my night, if I don't care, and most times I'll be honest, I don't care who knows what I'm drinking. That stuff is delicious. I was incredibly bummed out though because you talked up that pina colada the other day.
Ah, dude, I was bummed out too.
They didn't have it.
Yeah, they kicked it before we got there. But still, what was I drinking? Afternoon Delight with Ron Burgundy.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's if you haven't been there, you need to go there. I know, Coach, I'm breaking the cardinal rule of they're not an advertiser, but that's if you want to find YSN people, that's where you're gonna go because that we sat out there all night last Saturday. Watched a band, just hung out.
I mean,
great time.
Betos has his own fan club.
You guys missed that. That was ridiculous. He had his own fan club. It was the most wild thing I've ever seen in my life. And we tried to document it as much as we could, but his caw there was a Coach. Hang on, Paul. You have to unmute yourself.
There we go. Now,
How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing
guys
well,
doing
Coach.
all
How
right?
are you?
I'm doing good. Heading out to practice, so it's a good day.
Let's go 4-0.
No, we're working on it. Got a tough one this week.
We appreciate you, Coach.
Oh my goodness, love you guys.
See ya.
See you later.
The best. Don't you love when coaches just drop in? Just drop in on our shows.
It's like prime time all over again.
We're turning into prime time 24/7. I've got to tell you guys before we get to our would you rather. I have to tell you, we are working right now. Quinn wrote the story for it. The first edition of Coach's Corner with Andy Hake was filmed this morning, live from Koof Leitner and Boardman, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and dude, I got to tell you, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. If you're out there watching this, you've got to watch it. It's going to be lengthy. You might want to break it up into segments, or when you're taking your bathroom break, do it then there, or when you're doing your workout, just put it on. Just listening to that guy talk, like you want to just grab a flag and run through a wall. You understand kind of where things have come. And I'll give you a little bit of breaking news too. Is he talks about his history, which is very detailed. I mean, he goes into it. He's very apologetic for it. He goes. It's an in-depth interview, probably the deepest dive I've ever taken on YSN. So if you have a chance to check that out later, make sure you do so because we're going to debut it right after this show. It's really good, guys. And I'm not saying because I was there. I'm just saying because most coaches don't go there. They don't let you in what's going on up here. It's a lot of coach speak, as you know, as you've probably done one or two of these things. It was serious. So check that out. But also, I want to give some kudos on Friday night to this guy right here. Bailey, those interviews on the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard Show were phenomenal, man. Thanks for setting that up.
No problem, man. Anything we can do to enlighten the mood or separate, with Mike, even though Mike and Steve do a good job, they're there for a couple hours. So it's always good to have somebody else to talk to. And, that's, at the end of the day, you talk about it the most is it's all about highlighting these kids and coaches and teams. And, it's sometimes you get nervous when you're kind of, hey, I think I'm going to, I was telling Quinn, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to have these guys call in. I'm not sure how everybody else is going to take it because I get a lot of the things I want. But I don't always like to feel like I'm stepping on anybody's toes either. So I just sent Steve a text and he just said, YES. So I did. And it was a good thing. And they did a great job. Both of them did a great job.
One of the coolest things is like, okay, a phone call is something, right? It's neat. Typically, you don't have the players calling in after the game to radio shows or anything like that. We have the ability, just as we're seeing each other now, we have the ability to see them and talk to them after the game and mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, whoever, get to see them. I think that's the coolest thing about StreamYard and about our streaming service at YSN, what we do.
I think what's cool is some of us are getting like our announcing squads, like, when we've been doing this a couple of years. We built relationship with athletic directors, with coaches, with players, and it's starting to get a little easier now to, have an opportunity. I got some inside track with some family at La Brea, so it's a little bit easier for me than most, but it's all you got to really do is just talk to them and communicate with them. And they want to highlight their kids every school's selfish to a degree. They want their schools to be recognized and we're here to promote those schools. So it's a match made in heaven, really.
Well, thank you very much for all you did on Friday night. Not a whole lot of people were able to point you out, but I figured it out pretty quickly when those LeBray people were calling in, and they were two great interviews. We had another great interview with Coach Emil as well. We got to figure out his situation with his phone, because something's jacked up with his phone, and it's like a repeater thing. I don't know. We'll get with Coach on that. But it's time for our Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends over at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods in Canfield. If you're looking for new hardwood, there's no place better in the world. And I mean in the world, the best in the world. You go to Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods at bairdbrothers.com. Today's Would You Rather is pretty interesting, ladies and gentlemen. It is, would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life, or give up the internet for the rest of your life? Air conditioning, heating, internet. Would you rather? EB, go.
I feel like it'd have to be the internet. Like, really, if you think about it, up until, we'll say, like 2000, the internet really didn't exist, or it wasn't as accessible or created everything that there is now. So you can still survive without the internet. Like, I couldn't imagine being in Northeast Ohio without heat in January. It's or air conditioning, whatever. You can finagle around with fans and whatnot. But I mean, for what, half of my life, or maybe a little bit less than half, I didn't have internet, so I knew how to survive without it. I feel like I would be able to do it again.
Trey Civarella says AC and heat going bye-bye. Deuces. Paul, how about you?
Bye-bye internet. 100%. I mean, listen, I know I'm the oldest guy on this show and gets a little older tomorrow, but I mean, I didn't have internet, until probably, man, I'm thinking like middle school. I was in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade or something like that. You started playing on the computer in computer class, but before that, I mean, it was, hey, go outside and play, or you picked up a book, went to the library, researched something. I mean, yeah. But no, my house is almost like 68, 70 degrees all the time. I can't get hot when I sleep because it's terrible. And I would not imagine being, like EB said, in the middle of winter with no heat. No, sorry. Internet, goodbye.
I mean, you already have like 50% internet already. So it's probably a little
let's lose another half,
Quinn, how about you?
Yeah, the internet's got to go.
Damn.
I can't stand the cold, so bye-bye internet.
Wow. Coach says, I have a wood-burning stove. I'm set keeping the internet. All right. Billy?
Yeah. So I also grew up in a time pre-internet. Paul's not the only one, but I also grew up in a house that didn't have AC. So I'm very familiar with what that feels like. I'm getting lost with the heating and air conditioning. I'm keeping the internet. Everything I do, my entire life deals with the internet every single day. Not to mention YSN and sports and apps that we use just consistently. I mean, there's people, I'm just as bad of this is always near me. So I could never not have the internet. It's the way I watch
Billy,
TV.
You come over with your internet and you can enjoy my heat.
There we go. Match made in heaven. So there's just absolutely no chance in hell that I'm just not going to have the internet. I don't think I would trade it for just about anything.
I would die without the internet, I'm pretty sure. It would be the end of DJ Yoakley. I don't know how I would be able to function. Like whenever you get the service warnings and things of that nature, like I'm an early adopter of the internet. I was doing fantasy baseball when I was like 9 years old on America Online. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. AC, whatever. We can figure it out with ice packs and things of that nature. Heat, I mean, I'm not. I mean, Quinn's been in here. Everybody's been in here when it's cold in the winter. I mean, most of the times we don't have heat, and we didn't have AC for a week, and we survived. So, see ya. AC, heat, bye-bye. We'll figure it out. We'll get something burning in here. But the internet's got to stay. So I thought that was an interesting would you rather. It's not exactly sports anymore, but it's a would you rather and something for people to ask each other. Gentlemen, unbelievable weekend in local sports. I thought there were some really, really good games. There were a few blowouts. So my question to you to start this show, really 20 minutes in, is what was the one game that caught you by surprise, good, bad, or indifferent, of you didn't expect it coming? And there's one I think right off the top of everybody's head, but we'll leave that for last unless somebody brings it up before that. Mac, what was the game that you said, whoa, didn't see that one coming, one team or the other?
I mean, it was Ursula Chardon. To me, it was 33-0 at halftime. So I mean, that was something. The clock was getting ready to just start to go, and they made a nice comeback. And you had to see our setup, man. We had 2 laptops, 2 iPads. We were watching games as calling games. It was like. It was a YSN production, to say the least. We had audible call on our phone on each side. We had all kinds of things going, and we were keeping an eye on a couple different games. But mostly, Quinn was throwing at my face that Ursula was losing 33-0. And then when he started talking about it, all of a sudden you started seeing Tutty, Ursula, Tutty, Ursula, Tutty, and then Quinn stopped talking. It was weird. That was it. So that was the one. And that was just a crazy game and the way to finish it. I mean, there were some other ones, but to me, that was the one that stood out the most.
Quincy?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Billy on that one. But the other game that really kind of caught me by surprise was on Saturday. It was Valley Christian McDonald. I did not expect Valley to put up 53 points, let alone kind of blow out McDonald for a little while there. But, I mean, good for them. It was
a nice win after coming back from a loss from the
Yeah, definitely.
The thing that I loved about that game most was McDonald did not go away. Like, we saw them in the previous 2 weeks take some punches, and in week 3 they started throwing punches back, and I thought that was really, really interesting. And again, talking to Coach Ake, he said McDonald's a good team. They could win easily 6 or 7 games. They could win out the rest of the way, and you could see them in the playoffs. So that's an interesting one to me. Muncie, what about you?
Mine was, I mean, it hits close to home for all of us. Mine was the Sebring loss. I mean, Coach coming off that win last week, and I thought, hey, they had some momentum rolling, and I mean, the Mustangs just donkey kicked them, man. I mean, I felt terrible. I was like, what the hell? I mean, it was we were all just sitting there waiting. I'm like, hey, Coach's got it rolling. He's got it rolling. And then Matthew shows up and just said, not so fast, and really just kind of put him in check. And I was a little disappointed with that one. I was surprised. I thought those guys had it. I mean, I'm not saying they don't have it kind of figured out, but I mean, I was waiting for them to have 2 in a row, and just keep going moving. But that one kind of shocked me a little bit because everybody except for one person picked them to win Friday, and that one person was kind of gloating about it. And it was just like, come on, man.
EB, how about you?
Tough one. I mean, naturally, I can't say Ursuline because, Billy Mack and Quinn kind of already hit on that. I'm going to go with the game that I called Springfield. And honestly, Springfield was literally 2 plays away from shutting that Geneva team out. They had Geneva couldn't really move the ball on Springfield outside of a couple pass plays. They had a big pass play that went for their first score, and then I think their second score, Springfield had them 3rd and long. They hit someone up the seams, and then they scored on a kid did a little like 10-yard in. It sat down and took it in. So outside of like those 3 or 4 pass plays, Springfield literally dominated that game and just about all facets of the game outside of a couple of special team breakdowns and those 2 or 3 passing plays. I told you Saturday, dude, it might have taken Springfield a little bit to figure some things out or where their pieces fit, but they have 3 or 4 kids now that look to fill in and they're starting to roll.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I feel that one. But there's 2 games, guys, that I really, really, really were impressed with all week. And I feel like all season we've heard, okay, South Range has to get by Springfield. South Range has to get by University. South Range has to get by Canton Central Catholic. Now what? I mean, they have absolutely dusted all 3 of them when you look at the scoreboard, and probably could have put it to Tri-C a little bit more, but they weren't going to dip deeper into their bag of tricks, and they continued to just kind of keep on the steady and the straight.
6 touchdowns a game.
I mean, that's incredible.
The score has almost been identical all 3 weeks. 41-21, 42-20, 42. You know, I mean, they've only given up 3 touchdowns and scored 6. So
I mean, I'm not trying to take away anything from anybody the rest of the way on South Range's schedule, but I gotta say, if you're not impressed with South Range at this point in the season, there's something wrong with you.
I'm just gonna say this: nobody cares what South Range does until they beat Kirtland. That's where the bar's at. It's so high with South Range. Like, everybody loves South Range. That's what the expectation is. Go beat Kirtland. It's almost like the regular season. Kind of reminds me of like the NBA season for South Range. It's like, hey, let's just beat on teams and then get to the playoffs and then go beat Kirtland. Like, that's where the bar's at for them. So until they beat them, I think that's the you talk about like Tri-C's been a thorn in the side. I think that's the team that they have to get over that hump, and I believe they're going to do it this year. But just as maybe an outsider's perspective and somebody else, it's like that's where the bar is.
But you got to wait 10 weeks to get there.
You do, and you got to get there. And I'm not saying it's not easy to get there, and they're in the NEA, so it's every school they play is bigger than from here on out. So it's one of those things. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what the expectation is. That's just an outsider's perspective. But at the back of the mind, that's what somebody else outside of South Range is saying, hey, go beat Kirtland.
How about another game I want to draw attention to? Beaver Local. Did anybody see that one coming? 50 some points on offense. Have they just been laying in the weeds?
I mean, I thought they would beat Minerva, but I didn't know they would put a whooping on them, like an old, like, there's an ass whooping can here somewhere. Let's just grab it and let's just divvy it out.
There's a woodshed right over there. We're going to show you the back of it here real quick. I think they were just getting excited, and they're building up for this week, man. This week is their game.
Well, that's the thing. Did they use all their points last week? Did they save any for this week? Because this is an important one for them.
Well, you look at East Liverpool too. That's a team that's been lying in the weeds a little bit. I mean, when 2 or 3 weeks are against West Branch and Salem, that's not a bad schedule to start with. You know what I mean? You look at that and you go, uh-oh. You know, all of a sudden, here comes East Liverpool. So I think we got it right, boys. I think we got our quote unquote game of the week right on Thursday when we go primetime down in Beaver Local, and we kind of size up that East Liverpool, or as they call it, the game in Beaver Local and East Liverpool. So I would
argue, but I like that place. I think that place is gonna be bumping this week.
I know where you want to go. And I know where we should probably consider, but we also know that we're going to be there at some point this season.
Right, and I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, Garfield and JFK was a hell of a game. One hell of a game. And Garfield did exactly what they told us they were going to do on Thursday. They were going to use their size, they were going to use their talent, and they were going to just run the football, and they did it. It was Anthony Dema, right?
Yeah.
He did one whale of a job. But I think... And I don't want to make excuses for JFK. I mean, everybody knows they're my pick to win in D7. But I'll say this. It didn't hurt them last year when they lost to Garfield. It actually propelled them into the rest of their schedule and made them stronger. I think it's going to be the same thing.
They played 2 divisions up Friday. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, and JFK has a couple other games where they're playing up to where, JFK they can afford to drop 2 or 3 games. And honestly, it's not going to hurt them because once they get to the playoffs, but all it's doing is just prepping them for those deeper runs, to where you're not going to see a team like Garfield in D7. Or if you do, it's going to be very unlikely, and it's not going to be until the state semis or to get to the state semis or something like that. So looking at the schedule, JFK might drop 1 or 2 more games, but it's because they play up. I mean, it's not like they're going through and saying, okay, we play 1 D5 school and then we schedule D7 from here on out, because it doesn't do anything for them.
There's only one team that I really am concerned with JFK, and that is Louisville.
I think they also play Howland too. Traditionally, they play Howland. I don't know if Howland's on their schedule this year or not.
But playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So, like Louisville, that was a high-scoring game last year, was it not?
It was.
A little bit, yeah.
For the district championship?
Yeah. And I feel like Louisville just got a lot strong. Not that JFK didn't, but I keep watching this Louisville team, and I think they're out to prove everybody wrong.
To me,
They are
this is the
impressive.
week. This is the week to find out what are you really about. We know what Springfield is. Springfield's got the tradition. They got winning. This is the week. Can we find out, like, hey, is this team for real, or is it a little bit of fool's gold?
Yeah, it's a measuring stick week. You know, how do you measure up to the team that has been the team to set the bar standard every year for the past couple of years? And you're going to get it. Here it is. Go at it and see what you got. Two of the best quarterbacks probably fighting right out the gate in league play. So
I got to admit, Paul, I was super excited because usually whenever I'm on the road, whenever South Range is on the road, I usually end up as a floater, just picking. Somehow, under God's grace, I ended up with Louisville versus Springfield to this point. And I'm just sitting there like, this is awesome. I can't wait. Because this is the game I want. I circled it and I said, man, if there's nobody that wants to do that game that night, that's my game. And so far, Billy and Quinn have not stolen it from me. So we will see how that goes as the week progresses. I got a feeling Billy's going to nab it from me, but that's just my guess.
I'm mourning the loss of my game right now, so I need a day or two.
He's going to pull it out from under my feet. I know it's going to happen. I'm calling my shot right now. We're going to get to Thursday and Billy's going to go.
I'm like physically heartbroken right now that I can't go do the team I follow every week.
Do your setup like you did. Do your setup.
It's like one of the biggest games of the week for me, and it hurts my soul. So I need a day. I need to recover.
Siggy's pumped up too. That's my partner in crime. Okay, so we're through 3 weeks, boys. Whose stock is rising right now? Who has the green arrow that's closest to the top? Got to be, Louisville's got to be up there, right?
Teams that are moving up, didn't start at the top, or
like who's the team that you look at and you go, they have the best stock right now? If you were doing the New York Stock Exchange and all of our teams were on it, who's the one team that you would wish you would have had the Skittles on as you started?
There's a couple. I mean, there's a couple of them out there. I would say LeBray, Garrettsville, Lowville right now. Those are probably the three that stick out the most to me. I'm not – you could say Salem, you could say West Branch, but, to me, they haven't played nobody. Both teams haven't played anybody yet. So until they beat somebody that matters, I'm not buying into their stock yet.
That was ice cold.
I'm just not. Listen, like people think that we're anti-West Branch people. Well, we're not. At the end of the day, beat somebody and then I'll be excited about it.
Siggy, Columbiana's 2-1. They lost to Louisville.
Columbiana's 1-2. They lost to Louisville and Wellington.
Oh yeah, 1-2. I take that back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. 1-2. Damn it, Siggy.
I mean, there's a couple teams though. Like we know it's almost tiered because we know South Range, Ursuline,
right.
Springfield, you know, and I'm even gonna throw Garfield, LeBray. Like we knew coming into the season kind of where they were going to be at and what their expectations were. But if you're going to go stock that's rising, you got to throw Boardman in the mix. They're sitting at 2-1 and they just played a hell of a game against Jackson. And who was it? I think it was Cam. Did you guys see that catch?
Yeah.
Because that shit is like Sports Center top 10. And then look, I'm not going to say the word, but F that ref for throwing that flag when he tossed it. Dude, you make a catch like that. He wasn't ignorant about it. He threw it in the corner end zone. It's no different than a running back breaking off a 99-yarder and dropping it in the corner. But, I mean, I think Boardman's shocking people. You know, you kind of have united a little bit. They're sitting at 2-1. You know, there's just a handful of teams right now. Liberty's 2-1. I think I don't want to call them second-tier teams, but they were just those unknowns that we really didn't know. To where I think their stock's coming up, and they might be fighting into Jefferson. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Paul's been on this one from day one. Yeah,
they might be fighting into that top 8 come the playoff to where their narratives change. You know, they're not just going to be looking to be in the top 16; that they might be looking to host now.
I'm really interested. Quinn, who's the team that's got your attention? Their stock's on the rise. Turn your mic on.
I got 3 of them. Ooh, that was loud. Jeez. Jefferson's one of them. I'm sure Paul's going to talk about them, so I'll let him go. Boardman, Eric touched on Boardman. I'm impressed with them. And Valley Christian, that's where I'm at. Valley's played 2 D6 teams and 1 D7, and they're a D7 team, and they rolled the D7 team. So, moving forward, I think with the schedule being a lot of D7 teams left, it could be really beneficial for them if they keep winning.
Paul, how about you?
How many teams does Siggy want to throw out there? He's like stealing them all from everybody. Yeah, I mean, Jefferson, listen, they beat a D5, a D3, and a D4 school. And, with the exception of the Harvey team, like they were all handled, they took care of business. So I definitely liked Jefferson. They were a young team. They were super young last year, and everybody kind of was like, oh, we're going to go to Jefferson and just put it on them. And teams did last year. But they knew we're young. We're going to learn. This is a learning season, and it was a learning season for them. And, hey, they're heading into league play now. They open up, with Girard. So, we'll see what, they've got some good games on there. They got a little bit of a gauntlet. They go Girard, Niles, Hubbard, Strother, South Range, Poland, and so they've got some big games that they've got to go through there. So Bishop Sycamore, nice. So, I liked Jefferson. And you know what? Hubbard too. Hubbard's undefeated. So Hubbard's one of those teams that's out there. They had a close call there, but they pulled it out against Mooney. So, Hubbard's one of those teams that, not to overlook either. I like them with their stock up there too. So
I like South Range, and I beat the dead horse, right? But listen, that's 3 games that we heard critics on the other side say, well, again, South Range has to win this one to have a chance. South Range has to win this one to have a chance. Billy, I'm in a complete agreement that Kirtland's waiting for him, right? But I think this is a team that is getting more pissed every week because people keep saying, okay, well, South Range is good, but South Range is good, but. Well, my arrow's up on South Range. Hubbard, Paul, you stole mine. I think for some reason, people continue to overlook Hubbard. The same reason there's another team, they just dress in green, West Branch. People overlook West Branch seemingly every single week in every single sport, and it's except EB naturally. Listen, you want to talk about teams that play? West Branch has put up 48 points, I think, every single week to this point. It doesn't matter who they play. Does it matter who they go up against? So we'll
Hubbard's teams that they have beaten have a combined record of 2-6.
Okay, well they're going to go through the NE8 now. And we all know
exactly. This is where we're going to find out a lot about a lot of different teams. Is now you're getting in the league play, and there is a whole bunch of league play that's starting off hot. Like could be like the top 2 teams fighting each other week 3 or week 4 with all these first week conference games.
I got to get Seidel to sell this little segment to some crypto company. So we can get some stock up, stock down. Whose stock is down right now that they need to turn things around? Whose stock is? I'll start it off. East Palestine's down. East Palestine's down. I don't think it's a surprise necessarily to anybody. They're just in a holding pattern right now until they can get some more kids that are willing to buy into the program. And I'm not saying that all of them are not, but I think that there's some that are just there to walk the halls with uniforms on. And I think that, Coach Foster is trying to sniff them out a little bit. He's trying to figure out who's who and who's going to be in here for the team and who's not. So even though East Palestine's arrow is down right now, I expect them to turn it around at some point this year and catch somebody off guard with their heels down. So that's my pick. Billy.
I got 2, and I'm going to save the best one for last because I'm going to throw some fireworks at you. The first one's going to be McDonald. McDonald's stock is down. They're looking to get a dub anytime. They made a really good run last year. No, not a lot of new pieces. That's one too, Anthony. But I'm waiting to see McDonald football kind of figure it out because it's been a long, long time since McDonald football has started out like this. So, and they put up a pretty good fight against Valley Christian, but can we see that type of fight against a team that they can win? Yet to be seen. So the next one is Hallen. A lot of fireworks coming from the Barstool guys over there, but not a whole lot of backing up so far this year. So I'm still waiting for this explosion of like, hey, we're going to go 7-3. Well, you're going to have to make a whole bunch of run now at this point if you're going to go 7-3.
Q?
I got two, Jackson Milton and Western Reserve both, and they play this week. So one of those two is going to right the ship, and the other one is in a world of hurt.
Very nice play, Quinn. I'm proud of you. That's how you do it. Muncie.
Mine's easy. I mean, it's when I think of like programs, and I've talked with a bunch of the guys, like, there's six like, big programs around here, and this is one of them. And, they're sitting at 0-3, and it's Cardinal Mooney. Yeah, I mean, you look at Mooney. I mean, if somebody would have told you they're going to be 0-3 to start the season off, they'd laughed at you. They would have thought, oh, there's no way. They're going to win one or two of those games for sure. And they're sitting 0-3. I mean, and with the exception of the Hubbard game, I mean, they've been handled, and that's not something that program is used to. I mean, I know there was, and still is some turmoil floating around out there about stuff, but I mean, they still get athletes there. It's still Cardinal Mooney. It's a name, and, sitting there at 0-3 right now, and they're going to play a good West Virginia team this week. I mean, and then they get Fitch right after that. So, I mean, you could potentially see an 0-5 Mooney team right now if things don't get fixed real quick this week. So, I mean, we'll see. But that's who my pick would be.
EB.
It's not even a team. I'm going to go a whole conference with an exception of one. Like, you remove Valley Christian from the Eastern Ohio Athletic Conference, the whole stock for that league's down. I mean, now I get it. The past couple of years, they've graduated a lot of talent between, you've had a lot of good kids come out of Latonia. They had a great year last year. Lisbon had some great playmakers. Southern's been right up there, Columbiana. But I think between all the other teams but Valley Christian, there's only like 3 wins between, 6 teams. Now, granted, Latonia hasn't played a game yet, so they're still up in the air. But I just think that conference right now is going through a transition to where you've had some really good classes come through, and you have a lot of good youth. I mean, seeing this Columbiana team and knowing, some of these Lisbon kids and whatnot, the youth is there. There's just going to be a year of growing pains before, they kind of get back to where they're used to being. But that conference as a whole right now, I just think the stock is really down compared to years past.
Very interesting, gentlemen. Thanks for playing. Stock up, stock down. We're going to take a break. We come back. Still more to talk about. Get you ready for tonight on the network, as well as what do we think is going to be the biggest game, the best game on the network this week. We'll talk about that and more when we come back on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by these great sponsors.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Come see one of the Valley's hidden gems. The Back Nine Bar and Grill on the Berlin Lake Golf Club is the perfect place for fellowship, fame, food, and fun. Check out our daily specials and ask about memberships. The Back Nine Bar and Grill on Hartzell Road in North Benton. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the area's #1 spot for local sports in the Valley. It is the Your Sports Network Power Hour. And a lot to talk about, guys. Games this week, we have a load of them. Paul has done an excellent job, and Quinn as well, of making sure that we have as many as we possibly can this week. We'll give you that number coming up in a little bit. But What is the game, Billy? I know we're going to start with you because you are just oozing at the mouth to try to get this one. What's the one game that you think is going to be the best game of the week, and who are the players to watch in that game, Mr. McCartney?
I mean, I really think it's the Bray, and that's Garrettsville. Happy and excited to have Garrettsville on with the network, but really pissed off that I can't go to the game. So that's the best game. I think you got two teams that are destined to go far. Garrettsville's in a little bit of a different bind because they got Kirtland and they got South Range in their region. So I think this is just in the MVAC. This is the two best teams. And it's everybody else after that. It's not close realistically. Brookfield, hey, you've had a good run, but like you're not on the level right now as Garrettsville and the Bray, Newton Falls. You're not there yet either. These are the two king of the mountain in the MVAC. So it's going to be a brawl, and it's going to be one of those physical, drag it out, pound it out type of games because both teams don't throw the football. So it's going to be who can make the stop when needed. This game could be a blowout. It could be not a blowout, but it could be 40-5 to 40. But everybody running the football, not like the Ursuline and the hell they played where it's 62 to 48 or 58 or whatever, just throwing the football around each other. But it's going to be one of those. Somebody's going to have 300 yards rushing, and I'm going to be tuning into that game for sure, no doubt.
Who's the one player to watch in that game? If you're keeping your eyes on one jersey, who is it?
Trayvon Drake. He's the X factor for LeBray. He's the guy that can make the big play at any given time. They can put him in the backfield. They can run reverses with him. They can throw a fade route down the field. For me, it's that. I think with Garrettsville, they just do things very simple, but execute at a high level. So for them, it's more about team. So as it is for LeBray, but I think the one thing that it's going to be difficult for Garrettsville to figure out is where Trayvon is going to be. Is he going to be in the backfield? Is he going to be in the slot? Is he going to be on the X? So that's going to be something to look out for.
I think we got 25 games, if I'm counting correctly. Yep, Paul got me, yes. And then we have one on Saturday as well. Or is that with? That's with. Okay, so
24 Friday, one on Saturday.
Okay, and there's still some things being tended to. We might add one perhaps, or and obviously, as the Lord knows, we might lose one as COVID continues to rear its ugly head. Quinn, who is the game of the week for you? Best matchup, and who's the X factor in that game?
For me, it's Canfield New Philly. They're both 2-1 going into it, and it's always been a battle. For as long as I could remember playing New Philly, it's been a battle between the two, and they're right in the middle of kind of in that area where one team's going to get a bye, one's not, depending on basically who would win this game, how it is right now. And it's at New Philly, so that's going to be tough for Canfield to go down there. But Coach Pat will have these guys ready to go.
Love it. All right, Paul.
Mine is a matchup. I mean that hopefully it's a game that you get to go to. The Springfield Louisville game. Just seeing how Louisville's been turning it up, and Springfield needed to get some things figured out now that they lost some of their guys from last year and they're back. Filling those holes in. That's going to be the game, I think. There's a handful. I'm not going to steal another one in case somebody wants to talk about that. There's one more out there I think that's really intriguing. We'll see if EB or you hit on it, but this will be a game I think. I know I'm going to have it on. I'm going to be up in Wyndham, so I'll be up there as they take on Ashtabula St. John for a great matchup there, and we'll see what happens. But I'll definitely have my phone and my laptop going up there at the same time and have a handful of games on. But obviously there's two people that you need to watch in that game. It's Balone and it's Bo. So which B's going to get it done? And that's going to be the matchup I think you're going to want to see.
Killer Bees, man. EB, how about you?
I kind of have two, but I'm going to go with the most obvious and probably the best one, and it's going to be Ursuline Fitch. How's Ursuline going to respond after, they kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit, and then they responded well against, who was it, Chardon, and now you're coming to play a Fitch team who's ultimately had 2 weeks to prepare for you. And it's, sort of like that Springfield Louisville game. It's going to be the battle of the quarterbacks. Everyone knows that's what makes everything go for those two teams, but it's two storied programs, and both of them have high expectations this year. So I think you're going to see the blue coats and everyone sit there and say, we got this, we got this, and we got this. Naturally, it turns into a blowout. I'm not sure this might be the one game that doesn't turn into a blowout, because, it could be another 62-58 game.
I think Trey might have an inside scoop here for Ursuline, because every time we say Ursuline, he's all over it. And it's like he goes to the school or something. It's like he goes to Ursuline. We know, Trey. We know you love your Irish. Billy says the U by 50. Is that really you?
Oh, that picture's me. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. We don't want any Mama Betoses or anything like that happening.
Well, look at his name tag on here now. The U by 50.
Oh, look at that. It's going to be an interesting game, no doubt. I think one we're overlooking, though, is probably, and very well could be, a conference championship here in Week 4 when it's Valley Christian at United. I mean, these are two teams that, when it's all said and done, this game could mean everything in deciding the conference championship. So you look at the surprising United, in which, EB, I consider your point when you said the stock's down for the EOAC, but I think United and Coach Ogilvie surprising a lot of people this year, given what they lost last year in Keaton Baker and Brutus Ogilvie. But man, I gotta. Valley Christian can. When you put up 53 points, anytime a high school team can put up 53 points, you're on the radar, right? So it's going to be interesting to see which offense can prevail this Friday night when Valley Christian travels to Hanoverton to take on the United Screaming Eagles. There was one more that I thought was real interesting, and nobody said. Poland and Hubbard. And Paul, I think this might have been the one you were alluding to. But this is interesting on a couple different levels. Last week, no Christian Colosimo for Poland as he was battling illness, and now you've got Colosimo back in the lineup against TC Caffey. It's the immovable object I forget how that goes. I'm not even going to try to do it. It's two great forces going head to head, and who's going to come through? I mean, TC Caffey has been running wild on this schedule early on for the first 3 weeks, but everybody looks and sees 11 in the lineup for Poland, and they say, we're just going to run it the other direction. This is going to be a barn burner, folks. I'm excited that this game is on the network, and Jamie Romo calling it. My goodness. Like, they're not going to have a voice on Saturday. I'm making that prediction right now. So
yeah, I mean, and this is early on. This is a big battle, between a couple of NE8 teams because, and as of right now, you got Hubbard and South Range at the top, both undefeated. Okay, who's gonna assert themselves? That's not till week 10. That game is week 10. South Range and Hubbard. South Range goes to Poland next week, so they're gonna see that one. I think it's a 3-team battle there, and it's gonna be between Poland, Hubbard, and South Range for the NE8. Not saying that any of those other teams are terrible. They're all still trying to get their sea legs right now and find out what their program's about. So, and now you get two of them fighting in week 4, kicking off the league series. So it'll be an interesting game. I mean, if Hubbard handles Poland, then I think it turns into a 2-team race.
Come on, Poland! Let's go, Poland Bulldogs!
Yeah.
Another game that I think is super interesting, and you were talking about Palestine, and if it happens, I don't know where Latonia is health-wise, but I think Palestine-Latonia could be a very, very intriguing game. That might be, and if Palestine can get a league win for the first time in 2 or 3 years, that's huge. And look, we know Latonia lost a lot with Marco. He was pretty much the show for the Bears, and we highlighted them all last year, but you're Latonia, and I trust just about my whole life with Coach Julia, and I know what he's like, but this is game 1 for you. Game 1, so you haven't had a chance to work anything out, or you always make that improvement from game 1 to game 2. Well, when this is your game 1 and you're coming in on a team who's fighting and hungry and it's their game 3, that one kind of, piques the interest a little bit.
Oh, by the way, EB, they're debuting the new turf as well. So there's 2 times that a team wants to go in. They want to be the wrecking ball in your homecoming parade, and anytime you can open up a new facility, they want to own that too and say they were the first team. Yeah, they were the first team with a victory on the new turf. So I got to believe that that's a great point, EB. That's another great game that I think is going to happen. But again, both those teams are scrapping and clawing. Leetonia's just scrapping and clawing to play a game, and East Palestine's scrapping and clawing to win one. So that's going to be a great game, and of course we'll have it right here on YSN. And we're trying to work towards confirmation if it happens, because right now, if you haven't heard, the Leetonia volleyball team is out with illness, and it's from what we understand, there's no. Well, I'm not going to even make any speculations. They're out this week. There's no volleyball to be played this week for Leetonia. So just a heads up on that. You know what that brings us to, gentlemen? The Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? Brought to you by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, anything residential, anything electrical, you need to head over to our friends at Joe Dickey Electric, the official electrical sponsor of your sports network, YSN. William, do you got something big? You want me to hold it?
Nothing crazy. I can go.
Don't run that back. Don't run that back, because that's what she said in that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Over the weekend, a positive spark and really like a good deed here. I had my niece over the weekend. Saturday, we went to, with Paul's family and his girls, we went to the Canfield Fair. Later on that night, my niece wanted to ride one more time the yo-yo, this basically swing that just swings around. And the girl behind her was a lot younger. My niece is 11 years old, and just crying the entire time, wailing, like she thought she was going to die. So my niece was trying to talk her down off the ledge, and then the ride ended. So my niece came over. She won a prize. So she went and gave it to this girl and said, "This is your prize for finishing the ride, and you should be excited for it." And that's kind of what she did. So I'm very proud of her, and it was a good thing. It was a really cool thing, especially to see from an 11-year-old to make that decision on her own.
That is awesome, man. I love stories like that.
But super influenced by her Uncle Mac. Yeah, super influenced. Let's not.
The influence would have been had the girl had the prize and your niece go over and snatch it right out of her. Snatch. Got it.
You're the first and last, Ricky Bobby.
Well played. Either way, Uncle Mac, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. Kudos to you. Quincy.
I don't know if it's a positive or a negative, but I kind of zapped myself trying to plug in a toaster oven over the weekend. So that was kind of exciting. I blew the fuse and I fixed the fuse. Dad didn't even notice, so it's a good day.
So what you're saying is you almost had to call Joe Dickey Electric to fix
I almost everything. Did, yes.
Okay, very good. We'll accept that as a positive spark. Muncie.
Mine is my big Florida State fan, and they played on Sunday, and they didn't shit the bed. So I was excited for that because I was sitting there. I was very uncertain on what was going to happen with this team. And everybody was hyping up it's Notre Dame, and listen, they played well. They had a chance to, go into overtime and win it. And I was excited. Being a Florida State fan, I was like, finally, maybe they're back here a little bit. And I didn't get any shit from anybody over the weekend about it. So even my buddy who's a big Notre Dame fan goes, that was a hell of a game. So it was exciting. So yeah, it gives me some hope for this season. So.
And nobody got
It's so funny that a Notre Dame fan would say that's a good game. Like Notre Dame just stinks. Like they're already overrated. Being at 9, they stink. They shouldn't be there. Hey, I'm so happy that I wish Florida State would have beat their ass. Like. Ridiculous.
3 turnovers, it might have been a different story, but listen.
Did you hear what Notre Dame's coach said after the game?
But did you? The thing was, it was taken out of context because there was another guy.
He stamped it again, though, 6 seconds behind.
I mean, that was another coach who had said that like years ago. And if you knew who that was, like he alluded to that and said, what it was about. So I was kind of like sitting there going, wow, he just kind of misquoted it a little bit. But I mean, they said they all needed to be executed was a little rough. But I mean, listen, he was scared to death he was going to get beaten by an unbeaten team. So he was happy to get the hell out of there.
EB, what about you?
We'll go positive spark. Finally, no contact period's over, and going to go check out a girls' soccer game tonight between Salem and South Range. So get to see some of our players again. Coach Hamilton and I are going to meet up and then hopefully go cheer them on, give them our support. And I think that should be a hell of a game because I'm pretty sure South Range is state ranked, and they're definitely a program that's established, and this Salem girls team is on the up and up. They had a big year last year, and I think they have a little unfinished business.
Yeah, I will give you a little heads up. We tried to get this game filled. We tried. EB, you tried. Said you would jump in the booth. We couldn't get it done. We just couldn't get it done. We're still working on getting more soccer announcers. So if you know soccer and would love to educate the rest of us on it and be the voice of the sport, basically, for YSN, give us a contact. Get in touch with Paul Munson or myself, and we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you set up, and it's as easy as just talking about soccer during soccer games. Because, people look at us and they think that we do this on purpose. Like, we don't know enough about soccer to do it. It's due diligence. You know what I mean? And I don't want to embarrass the game. I don't want to embarrass anything, our kids, our brand, anything like that. So if you know about soccer and you're willing to get out there and broadcast, we'll pay you to do it. That's as easy as that. We want to get these kids out there as well. So let us know how we can connect, and we'll go from there. But EB, have fun at the game. We will have pictures of the game, at least, and a recap story, I'm sure, on ysnlive.com. As for me, well, I don't know how we even dictate this because about a month ago, a gentleman left our company, which it's fine. It is what it is. There were some I don't even know what to say about that part. There was some loose ends that needed to be mended, and they weren't. I would say that we were lied to, in fact, a little bit. And I'm not hurt about being lied to. I'm hurt about. I'm not even hurt. I'm just kind of pissed that we were lied to and then kind of spit on from that standpoint. We, for the last 4 years, have been the go-to for local, and I mean local, hyper-local sports in the Valley, hands down. We were in a situation where we didn't have any talk shows. It's something we talked about, no pun intended. We just never were able to pull the trigger. And the day came that we did pull the trigger because this gentleman was released from a conglomerate in the traditional radio setting, and we rolled out the red carpet for this gentleman for a year and a half. A contract, 2 contracts, as a matter of fact, were signed on an annual basis. We were told that, hey, listen, we don't have benefits here at this point. We're still very much a startup, and I'll be completely honest about that. I don't even have them at this point. This guy leaves, moves on to another place, says he needed benefits, and I'm okay with that. He completely ditched his final things that he needed to do to complete his contract, so we would let him out of it. Completely axed that at the end of his whatever, his thing here, his ride here, however you want to say it. And then all of a sudden, he's got a sports show on radio again, which was not part of the agreement. So I just want to say that I don't mind competition, but I'm not the kind of guy that you want playing on the other team because I get my guys fired up. I'm the kind of guy that will be relentless in squashing the bug when it comes to that. And some people can say, oh, he has Napoleon syndrome, or he has this, or he has that. Let me tell you something. I don't have anything. I've just got a beating heart for competition, and I know that whoever sides with this side is going to end up being the best at what they do. We're going to give you the best opportunities. We're going to give you the best opportunities to be great, and we are going to fail forward. We might lose once every 10 days, but we are going to win the rest of them. We're going to go 9-1, and I will tell you this, that we will take every last bullet and every last cannonball and blow them out of the water. We're gonna leave everything empty, leave everything on the field. Your day's coming, buddy. You chose your team. You spit on our flag. You chose a different team, and that's fine. But you're going to have to live with those choices. So good luck to you. I hope you enjoy it because the rap is about to get tapped. That is your YSN Joe Dickey Electric. What's your score? Thank you very much. What's the matter, William?
I might have had a stroke. Oh, I'm back. Never mind. I'm good.
I got to finish the game.
I got to finish this game real quick.
That's going to do it. Join us tomorrow for a Wednesday edition. You know who? Scotty will be in the studio joining us every Wednesday, as he does, right here on YSN Running Point. We'll see you later, boys. Until then, let's fly the freaking flag.